What's up? Hope everyone's having a good day. So today I want to analyze one of my favorite throwers to watch ever, and that's Ola. Forgive me for this pronunciation. Stunesiensen. I don't speak Nordic. Sorry. But he's a thrower from Norway. For those of you who probably don't know him, it's sad to say that he's just been injured for the past couple of years and stuff, but I'm pretty sure his PR is like 67 meters. People might remember him like from a couple years back, before like he broke his leg, and then it's just been injury after injury. But he's like a 67 meter thrower. In terms of meet PR, this is a 70 meter 64 throw from him in practice. And I wanted to analyze this, one, because, it's a 70-meter throw. And two, because I always like doing training footage rather than competition footage. One, because I think we can learn a lot from just training footage compared to meet. Meet footage. And then the other reason is, usually when you film yourself during practice, you tend to film at way better angles than these TV companies, cough cough peacock. So this is all I really want, is literally just a back view of the throw. Just show the entire throw in its entirety. That's all I want. I'm a very simple man. Is that too much to ask for? But anyway, let's get into this. So to get into his accomplishments, I'm pretty sure he holds the Norway record or something. I forget. I don't really know, because he hasn't really got the chance to do a lot. He has the potential, like you see here, to throw 70 meters. He's still relatively young, so I hope. He's just been so injury prone, and it's just really sad, because he's one of my favorite throwers, and this is why right here. So I got this off his Instagram, and it's just, I just love the way he moves. I just love his throw. I just love the way it looks. It's so simple. Sure, his positions aren't the best sometimes. Again, this is a training throw. He lands a little blocked off here. He may spend a little too much time in the air. But those are very nitpicky things besides, the blocked off part. But let's get into this. So I'm getting too far ahead of myself. So let's first just watch this one more time. So as you can see, very nice, simple movements, and he has a fantastic release. I would say him and Mar Israel are probably two of the most powerful looking finishers ever in discus. Their finishes, even though they never they're not 70-meter throwers in competition, the throws just look powerful at the finish. I mean, he hits the living crap out of this discus. Now, obviously, this went 70 meters, but again, I said in competition. So let's get into this. So already love this wind, and I love it because it's just nice, simple, keeps weight on both legs. Nice, simple wind, doesn't wind way too far back, doesn't have excessive movement, just a nice, basic, repeatable, consistent wind. All right. And if you watch him throw on his Instagram or on YouTube or whatever, literally almost every throw looks the same out the back. All right, it's very rare that you see a difference. All right, so he's here, boom, and I love that he's here. The discus is behind him, way over the left. So I know I usually say look for the left armpit over the left knee. But honestly, as long as your butt is not falling back, alright, as long as your butt is not falling backwards and you're not breaking at the hip, as long as your armpit is over your, the middle of your foot, like he is, and you have balance, it's fine. Obviously, he's over his left. It's there's a couple just different ways to get over your left. And I've explained that in my video about how to get over the left out the back, and that's on my YouTube channel as well. But right here, very nice. What I really love is this position. So as he turns his left, his right foot just is not moving until that's past 90. So I really am a big fan of that. What I would wish is if I had to change, there's a couple things that he does technically that I personally wouldn't do, or wouldn't coach, and that's, I wish this went more out. No, it's not like the knee collapses in to his other knee, but like he just doesn't hold like this. Damn it, he's just so fast, it's hard to fit him in the frames. Like I wish he was holding this reverse V better. You know, okay, I can't do it in this position because of the angle that it's filmed at, but he does still get the same effect from holding it. So I really like just holding this right foot down as long as possible to create this stretch in between your groin and your hips that just snaps you around and creates a stretch in your legs. So you don't have to try and muscle your legs. You know, you get that stretch reflex I talk about all the times. I think I mentioned it at least like 30 times in my videos. Stretch reflex, stretch reflex. You need stretch reflex to throw far. All right, I'm a big believer in stretch reflex because it just makes the throw easier. It lets your body do the work, and you can just produce more power in stretch reflex than you trying to muscle something. All right, so you know, and any athlete that's remotely good uses stretch reflex, and all like in any sport, you know, maybe except chess or something. Any like sport that you need to actually move in some form of athleticism, you use stretch reflex. All right, so you know, use it. So that's how you do it. All right, so just hold this down while moving the left. Feel the stretch in your groin. You just gotta make sure to hold the discus behind you, which he does very well. Gets a nice, so he doesn't get that wide of a sweep. So this is something that you have to be kind of careful of, is this position. So now his armpit is still not quite over his knee, but the reason why I say this is not a bad position is because if you look, his knee gets wide. His left knee gets wide, so he's putting that weight over his left knee. So right here, it's very nice, so his knee's facing the sector. The reason why I would say I want his hip to go out and around instead of a little in and around is because of this. I don't really like his hips here. His hips, I like to be a little more, his right hip especially, to be a little more facing the sector. And this causes him to rise a little bit and have too much air time, in my opinion. But if you have a athlete who can throw 70 meters doing this, I would say, you know, screw it. Just let him do it. Like, this is his technique. It works for him. So, as I also say in all my videos, find a technique that works for you. So, if I was coaching him and he's comfortable and he's tried, like, another way and it just did not work, you know, then this is just how he throws. And, you know, it's like Yemi Perez, you know, like every time, like she just lands just blocked off. But she throws 73 meters, so I'm just like, if I was her coach, I'd just be like, all right, clearly just works for you. Even though, like, in like a textbook definition or like like physics or biomechanics, like landing like this isn't necessarily the best thing ever. But, you know, in real world application, you know, it produces a 70-meter throw. So, yeah. But let's get to the middle. So he's here. So now he's facing the sector here. So if I was coaching him, I would like a little wider sweep. Not that his sweep is not that wide, but it's not like closed in. So his knees are separated. I like that he opens his left arm. And I like that he's using his left arm. So he keeps his left arm in, and then keeps it, so stops the left knee. And then keeps his left arm moving to help him get more around easier. Out the back with his right side. And then he stops the left arm here. Holds the chest really well into middle to create that separation. So as he does this, his right leg goes way far ahead of his upper body. And I really like this position. So he's pre-turned here. So right there. So really nice there. I think that's a really good thing to do in discus. because it's a bigger ring, so you have more time, so you can sprint hard, which is what he does. He sprints super duper hard. So boom, right there. So in my opinion, that's a little too much airtime, and I think that he rises just a little tiny bit too much. But in discus, that's not so bad because, you know, you want a little more of that orbit, but he doesn't necessarily get a super high orbit. But I mean, it's not like the worst thing in the world because he's just producing so much speed out the back, and he's just sprinting so far, like so hard. It is not really slowing him down. So it's not like a bad thing. It's just, you know, like I said, you know, like biomechanically and like physics-wise, like you want to limit this airtime. Like you do want airtime, but you don't want these frames. You know, if if his right foot could land like there, you know, that would be perfect. But, you know, one frame later, it's not like the end of the world. So, I mean, really like this. Really like how his knees are apart here. And if you guys notice, so he brings his left arm here, kind of like a Joe Kovacs would. Not as aggressive as Joe Kovacs, but keeps it in so that his left arm doesn't go back here, and he loses that separation and that tension. So he's here, holds the chest, holds the left arm, lets the right go past, like I said, and then just keeps holding it. And he's a really good example of a cue that a lot of coaches use, is if you have trouble landing open and out in the front of the ring. So like if you were to land like this when your left gets down, instead of where he lands here. So if you land like this. So imagine this is his left foot just touched down and he was here. You know, and you look at yourself in film and you notice that you're like looking that way, or you're peeking, or like you're trying to look before you throw. A great cue that he does, or I don't know if he's thinking about it or he just does it. And I know it's kind of hard to see because it's shadowy and dim light, but his head just stays back forever until his left gets down. All right. So if you have trouble doing that, maybe try this cue. The reason I sometimes don't use this cue is because of what this does. It's because you have more of a tendency to land a little more blocked off because it's harder to turn and keep turning this right. So it kind of just stops your momentum like a little bit. So it keeps you from being super rotational. But it's better to land like this and actually have pressure on the discus than landing like this and having like nothing to turn against. So, you know, it's better to land like this. And this is a great catch position. So if I can stop, yeah. So if his left foot landed like here and his hips were a little more open, but his upper body stayed the same, that would be like a textbook position for me. That would be a beautiful position. But again, like, it's not like his left foot's like here or something. So it's not the worst thing in the world, but, you know, it's not ideal. But again, like, he can throw 70 from it. And the reason why is because he uses his hips so aggressively to turn out of it. And because his left foot leaves the ground a little bit. I know it's hard to tell because his right foot kind of blocks it. But the disc is out of his hand and his hips are turned all the way. It's hard to tell. I don't think his right knee is fully locked out. His left is. But it's hard to tell because he's wearing black pants and it's kind of shadowy. But yeah, I don't... no, it's not fully locked out. So his right knee's bent, so that's very nice. I really like that. And I really like this position right here. Now, if there's another thing I could change, is that I wish he stayed on the ground longer with his right foot and really turned through it, like a Ryan Krauser or Joe, or a Fabry, or like a Lars Riedel, or like other discus throwers that do that, like a Daniel Stahl. I forget if he does that, or Christian Che. I don't know. Che doesn't really. I guess, kinda. Just wish he stayed on the ground just a little longer. So that he could produce more force. But his type of style and throwing is not super rotational. So like Robert Harding is like a super rotational thrower. I equate this kind of style to be more like a Lars Riedel, so super linear in discus. So it's just two different styles. So he's not super rotational. He's just getting across the ring as much as possible, as fast as possible. So that's why he doesn't have the super wide sweep. That's why he's not super wide out the back with his left. He's just getting down, down, go. You know, it's almost like a John Powell versus like a John Powell versus a Mac Wilkins. You know, John Powell was just super linear, and then Mac Wilkins was kind of linear, but compared to John Powell, you know, he was a rotational monster. Because I think John Powell is probably one of the most linear discus throwers of all time. In my opinion, at least. So, you know, it's just two different styles. I'm not saying either or is wrong or right. I'm saying this works for him because Ola, I can just tell, is just super twitchy. Like his fast twitch muscles, he's just super explosive. And he's not slow, and he's lightweight. So I equate this to like Zane Weir. Or like he's not like the biggest or strongest dude. I forget how tall he is. I think he's like 6'4" or something. So like to the normal person, you know, like that's pretty tall. For a discus thrower, that's like a little below average, honestly. Yeah. Although again, I don't know. I'm just assuming he's like 6'4", just looking at him, but I could be wrong. He's probably like, I don't know, he could be like 6'9" for all I know. For someone of this kind of stature, is not really like super big like Daniel Stahl or like Robert Harding, and you know, is not like the strongest person in the world. This kind of style suits him a lot better because he doesn't have that mass to let him be super rotational. Because if you have a lot of mass, you want to be a little more rotational, or if you want to be taller. But if you're on the shorter end of discus throwers, or you're not very like wide or tall, so like a la like a Zane Weir, you know, you want to be super compact and you want to be super twitchy and you want to be off the ground as soon as possible. Like another thrower that I would say is like that is like Robert Fizikis, even though he was really, really strong, like the mass wasn't really there. I'm not saying Ola's weak, but like compared to like a Daniel Stahl or like a Christian Che or like people like that, like, you know, he's not like that. But obviously the throw, like as far as he does, you do have to be strong. So he's clearly strong, but he's not like I would be so crazy to think that he was like 280 plus pounds. You know, like so like a 260 and below type of build. I would say this is a really good style because it lends you to play to your strengths. So this is a style that plays to people that are super twitchy, super fast twitch, on the shorter end, not very mass based. So like doesn't have like a belly. Is super lean and relies a lot on speed. And you know, some people just don't work. Like some people, like they just can't figure out how to, like, you know, turn rotationally. Some people just can't figure out how to be wide out the back. Some people just like their brains just don't work like that. So you have to like find out what works for you. You know, it's just like, you know, some people can throw the hammer and some people can't. Or some people are really good at glide and some people aren't. It's just how your brain is wired. So like I would equate this kind of style to like the glide of discus throwing. So it's just like super linear, get down, and like you don't work the ground as long. And this is kind of a glide finish with the legs, honestly. So like he's not really staying on the ground super long. He's not really turning, but his hips are turning a lot. And he's just going over his block. And that discus is just out of his hand. So his finish, so he lands here. Let's count the frames. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 frames is a ridiculous release speed for a discus thrower. All right, that is an insane amount of time, especially if you're throwing 70 meters. Like I guarantee you, if I did this with like Daniel Stahl, it would take a long time, simply because he uses a lot more rotation and he uses a lot more length on the finish. So you normally see, like, you know, like a Daniel Starr or Peter Malachowski, they would be like all the way out here, and like they'd be leaning a little bit this way because they're so rotationally based in their throw. Where like he is finished. This is almost a mirror image of how Zane Weir throws. I'm actually now putting it together of like how much like Ola and Zane Weir like throw pretty much almost identically. Like almost like the same principles apply, and maybe that's why I love both of them a lot. I love Zane Weir. I'm probably gonna make a video on him soon, just because I just love him. Yeah. So, but yeah, and so the block really nice, almost a Mac Wilkins style block. So he's up in the air, but he's holding this strong. The disc is out of his hand. Beautiful, beautiful release. So super linear. And yeah, I mean, it's just a super basic, relies a lot on speed. So you notice, so he doesn't really take that much time to go out the back. So he's not like super long and patient out the back. He just goes. And for this type of style, if you want to be super linear through the ring, that's what you need. All right. So when people say you throw discus like a shot putter, or you throw the shot put like a discus, this is what I'm talking about. This is what like people talk about. I'm sure like some throwers have heard that before. Like he throws the discus like a shot putter, and it's not necessarily bad. Either like I would say throwing the shot put like a discus is a lot worse than throwing the discus like a shot put. You know, because I'm not going to get into that because that's just a whole separate video that if you guys want me to make, you know, I can. But yeah, so yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, he's just one of my favorite throwers to just watch, and you know, in the playlist I'm putting this and just technical analysis, I really just put the people I just love to watch the throw. Honestly, like I just love watching him. Like I could watch him just throw all day. I mean, it's just beautiful. And yeah, like I know he doesn't have like a lot of medals and like all these accolades, but I don't really care because again, he's young. He's just been so injury prone. It's just sad to see this kind of stuff. So I hope he can get his health back on track. And stuff, you know, like a broken leg, you know, that's tough. And I think he's just had so many other injuries, like it's crazy. But yeah, I mean, it's sad, but again, oh yeah, so it says Road to Tokyo. So I was just thinking in my head, I was like, I swear, like he broke his leg or something, like close to Tokyo or like in prep for Tokyo, because I don't think he competed. I know he made a world championship. I forget if he made I think he made the final in 17 or 19 or something. So I know he's made a world championships. I forget if he actually made the final or not. But yeah, so you know he was good enough to make a world championships, and I think he's throwing like 67 or 66 meters. So you know, really really good thrower. Really, like not a lot of people can throw that. You know. So, like, that would have won the Olympic trials for the U.S. So, to give you an idea. But, yeah. And clearly, he has the potential to throw 70-plus meters. So, yeah. I mean, overall, I mean, I just love his throw. It's just so simple, so powerful. And, yeah, really nice. So, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you want me to do any of your favorite throwers or whatever. And thanks all for watching and have a good day. See y'all later.